All right, all right. What is up? Happy Friday once again to everybody. We are live, hopefully on YouTube. Welcome to Kiss Meets the Podcast 4K, the Crazy Crazy Kiss Countdown. You wanted the best. I'm one of your hosts, Eli Clausen.
And I am Luke Neely.
And as you see, we have two guests with us. Returning again after last week, we have Mr. Anthony X, author of the book Kiss My Black Ass.
What's going on, everybody?
What's up? Thanks for coming back. And for any longtime viewers of the episode, you may recognize this other guy. Back in the earlier days of the show, he was one of our third co-hosts at one time, Mr. Chuck Hoskins. Welcome back.
Hello, everybody.
So what's up? How you guys doing this week?
We're doing good. Doing real good.
Awesome.
Just getting off work and yeah.
Yeah. In case anyone missed the episode last week, as I mentioned, Anthony's book, Kiss My Black Ass, available. You can get it on Amazon. And, I'm sure many other outlets, but if you don't have it, I highly recommend it. It's a great, entertaining read. Definitely pick it up. So this week's episode, of course, is Asylum. I'll tell you, this one, and for me at least, was a pretty hard one to rank. It's a good album, but we'll get into more of that as we go, of course. So as always, let's just get into our usual stuff here and get caught up on the comments and polls.
Absolutely. So we've got a few comments to jump into this week. We got our first one on our Creatures of the Night episode a few weeks ago. I got a new comment from Robbie Stars. Robbie says, update, I'm going to have to give Creatures a 9 instead of 8. Some songs are a bit overrated, like I Love It Loud and War Machine, and I'm not a big fan of Killer, but this is one of my most played albums by the band, and I enjoy most of it. Side 1 is one of my favorite sides of any Kiss album, and yep, the drums are amazing and loud. Creatures rules, and I have come to my senses, Luke and Eli, and I realize an album like Destroyer is overrated, not Creatures. Oh, man. I got to tell you guys that my dad was over, and he's the one who got me into Kiss. He's a huge, huge, huge Kiss fan. Been on the show. It's been a while now since he's been on. But we were talking about interesting things that we've learned since being a part of this podcast. And I think that might be my number one. I had no idea, literally no idea, or even the beginnings of an idea that there were a lot of Kiss fans that dislike Destroyer. That blows my mind still to this day that there are people that dislike Destroyer. I never would have guessed that.
That's actually been a common thing for years now. Fans just don't like Destroyer. Well, I'm not going to say all around fans don't like it, but a lot of them feel it's overrated, it's overpolished, and I think it's a masterpiece.
I agree. As I've said in the past, it's like I kind of wish I was around at that time, because I almost wonder if would I have been one of those fans that would have kind of turned my nose up at it, or would I have been like I am now? Like just rolling along with the punches and loving everything not loving everything they do, but supporting it at least.
Right. I wonder if some of that is just due to the live fatigue factor. Like, let's say if Rock and Roll Over, they did like 6 or 7 songs a tour off of that, and they only did Detroit Rock City. I wonder if people at this point would be like, Rock and Roll Over is so overrated,
That's a good point. Yeah, I agree.
Very well could be.
Because, I mean, it's a solid 4. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think something to consider is in that first 3 albums, a lot of those fans were older guys. They weren't kids. They were older guys, so they had a different expectation. Kids, 7, 8, 10, when Destroyer comes out, it's just Kiss. They're just good with it. They're going to roll with it, like Eli said. But you got to think in that 74, 75 period, it was just mostly older fans. Drug addicts, alcoholics, just older rockers. So they had a different expectation, especially coming off of Alive.
They had a great expectation, you might say.
Oh. I see what you did there. Yeah, I think we have the great benefit of looking at it in retrospect too. At the time, it was so different than the first 3 albums. I often contribute that dislike to that, is that it was just so wildly different, production-wise at least, to what they were doing on the first 3 albums. And of course, I have no concept of that until it was pointed out to me. All of those albums already existed for a long time by the time I was born,
Right.
Let me say this, and I'm not going to beat this up. You take Beth and let's say it's 1976 all over again. Destroyer's released. You take Beth and Expectation out of there and put just two basic rock songs. No one's got a problem with it. I think it was just Beth and Expectations, Great Expectations, that made it the issue. Yes, it was different, but it wasn't so different. I mean, let's be real. I mean, Detroit Rock City, all that stuff sounds better than most of the stuff that appeared on their first three albums. God of Thunder, Detroit Rock City.
Is it a case of like they did it too soon as far as the ballads? Is that what you guys maybe think is the problem?
Maybe. I think they had to have pulled the plug at some point. People probably would have been mad no matter what.
Because like, why was it an issue then? But when, say, like Shandy comes out, it's a huge song and it's great, and we love it.
Because the point had already been made about Kiss as a band. They're established. They are who they are, and we're going to do this. And if you don't like it, we'll go take a hike. We're still going to do these things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it might cost some ticket sales and album sales, but we're going to do it anyway because they're already established. Beth was coming off of a live. Beth was just so left field. I don't think it was even Great Expectations. Beth was just it was a ballad. It was a love song, and it became a success. Uh-huh. That was also what hurt some fans, and I guess you could say because this is our band, and our band is catering to the radio audience by doing this poppy love song and with strings and violins and all that stuff in there. So, just my opinion.
Now, of course, this is like a fantasy type of concept, but let's say, like you said, Beth and Great Expectations were not on that album, and then say Shandy down the road, when that came out, was the first ballad that they did. Do you think people would have still had the kind of reaction then at that point, or at that point would people?
There might have been some reaction, but it wouldn't have been to that extreme because again, Kiss would have been already established by that point, by 79, 80.
True.
So
yeah, it's definitely it's an odd thing. It is an odd thing to hear that. I mean, it's almost like someone saying they don't like Sgt. Pepper. It's like, what?
Right. Yep. So jumping forward, we did get a new comment on the Lick It Up episode as well. This comment came from Chris Lyon, our good buddies over at the Kiss and Tail podcast. Chris says, good album. I rate it a 7.5, solid production, good radio-friendly single, and Lick It Up. Vinny rips on guitar, and Paul's vocals are at peak performance.
Nice.
Absolutely. All right. So now we come up to last week's episode, Animalize, which, of course, we've got a few comments here. First is from Chris with Kiss and Tail. Chris says, sorry, for me, this album is below average. Thrills in the Night and Heaven's on Fire are good songs, but the rest are a bunch of fillers. Very forgettable album. I rated a 4.9.
Jeez. Chris, you're so harsh.
Ouch.
Forgettable album.
Yeah. We also got a comment from Ronnie Parker. Ronnie says, to me, Animalize was making their stamp on the 80s scene during this new non-makeup era. Lick It Up was okay. No makeup. Let's see what you got. It's a great 80s album. I was in 6th grade when Heaven's on Fire video hit MTV. I mean, what can you say? The chicks were hot in that video. Keep rocking, Space Ace Run.
Got to agree with that.
Absolutely. We got a comment from Joshua Woodall. Joshua says, I think it's a great album top to bottom. Burn Bitch Burn is a favorite. Wish they rocked more albums like this, personally. Absolutely. I got a comment from Chuck McFarland. He says, I would rank Kiss Animalize a 7. His top, 4. I guess he didn't quite give us his whole rankings. In his number 1 spot, I've Had Enough, Into the Fire. In his number 2 spot, Under the Gun. In his number 3 spot, Get All You Can Take. In his number 4 spot, Heaven's on Fire. And then he said, all the rest are tied for 9th place.
Oh, wow.
Again, ouch. We got a comment from Rain in Adamstown. Thomas says, I love Animalize. A little problem here and there, but all in all, very good. I give it an 8. Great production. Problem 1, the ooze in Burn Bitch Burn. Problem 2, Murder in High Heels as album closer. You are right. It is a good song, but there has to be a 10th song. An album closer, all night style. His top 3 are I've Had Enough, Into the Fire, While the City Sleeps, and Heaven's on Fire. He says, can't wait for the Asylum episode. 80s Kiss Junkie.
Nice.
Absolutely.
I have to say, I don't think All Night's a good album closer myself, but that's me. We'll get into that.
Final comment here from Carolina Hard Rock. Looks like he's got a change to his YouTube name. It's just Carolina Hard Rock now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Good to see you anyway. Scott there. So Scott says, been busy as hell here lately, guys. Haven't even had time to make my own video. I've already missed 2 episodes. I'm catching up. I'll put my list in for Lick It Up and Animalize. Maybe I can figure out a way to keep caught up. There we go. So he gave us his rankings for both those albums. Lick It Up, he gave an 8. And his top 3 were Not for the Innocent, A Million to One, and Exciter. Animalize, he gave a 5. And his top 3 were Murder in High Heels, Heaven's on Fire, and I've Had Enough Into the Fire. He also says, if there is a way you guys can send me a notification before y'all do this video, I could probably grab you guys live. I don't know sometimes, and I am super busy. Keep rocking.
Well, Scott messaged me earlier today and asked, and I told him, so hopefully you're in here, man. Or you're going to.
Yeah. Yes. Totally get being busy, man. That's we were just talking about that before we went live too, especially with the pandemic and everything. With all that, and a lot of people are sick and trying to keep caught up with everything. So totally get it.
You got it straight from the horse's mouth. I even snorted and kicked up some hay after I told him.
Okay, so we're getting there. That's all for the comments. Let's talk just a little bit about the polls. So I think most of you guys know this already, but in case you're new, we are over on our Facebook page, Kiss Meets the Podcast. You can search that on Facebook. Give our page a like, please, and thank you. We're trying to get that built up, getting quite a nice following behind us. We are right now doing a huge Every Kiss Song tournament, posting them in matches and polls throughout the week. Right now, you do actually have to join our Facebook group to get in on that. For some reason, Facebook closed down polls right around the time of the election. I don't know what's going on with them, but you can still post polls in group pages. So if you search Kiss Meets the Podcast group, you can request access to join. We approve everybody, so jump in there. Definitely get in on voting for this. We want as many votes as possible. We are getting near the end of our huge tournament right now, and we are starting a new one as soon as this one's over. So don't worry, you haven't missed it. You can still vote on the last couple of rounds here, and then you'll be in from the get-go on our brand new tournament coming up here in a couple weeks. So last week we posted the semifinal round of the entire tournament. It was 5 songs all in one that you could just pick one to move on. We were going to take the top 2 from that. There's a bit of a different round. And wouldn't you know it, as luck would have it, our second place song tied. So we've posted an extra semifinal round this week that you can go vote on right now. We'll get into that in a second. The results of what we posted last week, which was round 7, incorrectly labeled as round 6. Thank you, Facebook, for that. This was our semifinal round. The 5 songs that we posted: Creatures of the Night, Deuce, Detroit Rock City, Love Gun, and God of Thunder. And you could only pick one of those 5, and we were going to take the top 2 in the final round. So the results from that: Creatures of the Night blew it all away, making it a pretty strong contender, I think, for winner of the whole thing. That seems, I don't know, I love Creatures of the Night, but I don't know that it's the best Kiss song of all time. I don't know.
Not the studio version.
Right. So 32% of the vote. And keep in mind, that doesn't seem like a lot, but we're talking about between 5 songs here. 32% for Creatures of the Night. Tied for second place, both of these had 22% of the vote, 22% apiece. Deuce and Love Gun.
Of course.
And then
Deuce
tied, I know. Yeah, I know, yeah. So then tied for third place with 12% of the vote apiece, Detroit Rock City and God of Thunder. So Detroit and God of Thunder out of the runnings, which surprised the crap out of me. I really figured Detroit would make it to the final round. What you can go vote on right now is the tiebreaker for second place. So our final round of the whole thing is going to be posted next week. Creatures is going to be one of the songs. The other one is either going to be Deuce or Love Gun. And right now, you can go vote on whether or not it's going to be Deuce or Love Gun. And then we'll see what happens in the final round next week.
Totally didn't think Creatures was going to be in that final round.
Yeah, definitely. I figured it would be Deuce versus Detroit. That was honest expectation.
We should have put the single edit of Detroit Rock City. Then it definitely wouldn't have made it this far.
No.
That atrocious thing.
Yeah, the Creatures really surprises me to see that high.
Yeah, that's really shocking.
Like Luke said, it's a really good song, but I'm not sure whether it's top 10 Kiss songs, let alone one. Sorry about that, Anthony.
Oh no, you're fine. I was gonna say I probably would have thought Deuce would have been number one with Kiss fans. So
well, it's still got a chance. Hopefully.
Absolutely. So I think we're gonna, once this is all said and done, we're gonna go back and do the Alive tournament. So it's gonna be all 4 Alives, all the tracks there. So there are gonna be some doubles, but you'll be voting for specific versions, the live versions, from version to version. So that'll be interesting to see there. What is the best song ever recorded for a Kiss Alive? I think we might even include MTV Unplugged in that too. I know it's not an Alive, but it's an important live recording at least.
Makes sense. And and it's nice because, like you said, there may be some multiple songs, but it'll be cool because like one version will have the symphony on it versus just the regular. So it'll kind of be those little nuances that help the vote.
Now, are you guys including Millennium also, or just the symphony?
That's a good point. That wouldn't be a bad idea as well.
Yeah, it's almost like we should, even though
some people consider it the true Alive 4. So
it was supposed to be, but now I kind of see why it wasn't. But,
right.
I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense if we're including Unplugged, I guess. But
right. We open up a whole can of worms, including anything not called Alive, because then you could make an argument for a lot. But let's call it here. It'll be the 4 Alives, MTV Unplugged, and the Millennium Concert.
Okay.
That's it.
So
no Vegas.
Oh Lord. So then we have to put in, so then we have to put in the live stuff that they used to do that they never recorded, like Life in the Woods and Simple Type.
Right.
I love the comments about people are going to say, how come this wasn't in there and how come that wasn't in there? And so,
That's one reason we decided to do this live version, because we had a lot of like, why wasn't this version in there or that version?
Right. It opens so many cans of worms because in the tournament we're doing right here, we could have included the Smashes and Thrashes versions and the double platinum versions, which are all a little different. And it was already a stretch to include Strutter 78 as its own song.
Yeah,
we'll leave it where it's at. All right, so I think that's our poll speech / rant for the episode. So, are you guys ready to get into album info then?
Yeah, we're ready already. Definitely. Let's do it.
Absolutely. All right, so in case any of you didn't look at the title before you clicked on this, or for some reason are blind, this is the Asylum episode. So, Asylum is the 13th.
Do you see it now?
Oh my God, so colorful. This album was released September 16th, 1985. Nice. Another September album. Another one of the millions and millions of Kiss albums released in September. This was recorded throughout June and July 1985 at both Electric Lady Studios and Right Track Studios in New York City. This album is produced by Paul Stanley. Apparently Gene is also listed. At least he's listed on Wikipedia. I don't know that that's deserved, but
yeah, he's listed on the back too.
Oh, okay. This is, of course, the first Kiss studio album with Bruce Kulick as an official member, replacing Mark St. John, who ended up having to leave the band he just barely played live with them and had to leave because of arthritis that puffed up his left hand and his left knee. Really sucks that he wasn't able to do more with them, but luckily they were able to get Bruce Kulick, who was already tied to the band through his older brother Bob, who most Kiss aficionados will know tried out in the very early days and very nearly got the job instead of Ace. So kind of an interesting connection that they would end up later on with that guy's younger brother. As far as singles go, Just Tears Are Falling on this. Very, very strange there. And then Any Way You Slice It was the B-side? That's strange.
Huh.
Personnel says Paul Stanley, rhythm guitar, vocals, and bass on Tears Are Falling. Gene Simmons, bass guitar and vocals. Eric Carr, drums, percussion, and backing vocals. And Bruce Kulick, lead guitar, backing vocals. We've also got Gene Bouvier, who played bass guitar and backing vocals on Who Wants to Be Lonely and All Night, both of which I believe he co-wrote as well.
Yeah, I remember he performed those at the Expo that year when he was there.
He did. Yeah, super nice guy. It was very interesting to meet him for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And he stood at a merch booth. For any time he wasn't on stage, he was just at a merch booth talking to everybody that walked up.
Yep.
And then also Alan Schwartzberg again, who did additional drum overdubs. My complaint persists that the second Michael Jackson wasn't the one producing. Suddenly we're getting studio musicians again.
Mm-hmm.
This got up to 20 on the U.S. Billboard Pop charts, and this has, are you ready, Eli?
Yes.
This album has been certified gold.
I love gold.
Not even platinum.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, surprising that it didn't.
But gold is better.
Okay.
It was an unfortunate smelting accident.
Gold.
I can't say I've ever looked at all the album sales, but I guess I've always assumed all the non-makeup albums except Hot in the Shade went platinum. But
So what do you think, Anthony? Does it still hold up where you still hate the covers with their faces like this?
no, I do not hate the cover at all.
Okay.
There's a lot of other ideas they could have used, but I do like that cover. It doesn't bother me at all.
All right.
Actually, let me add, I always thought the back of the album, that picture on the back of the album would have been a better album cover than the front, but to me,
Indeed.
that would have been a better album cover. So,
And maybe an actual
I could get
picture
behind
too,
that.
not that art look to it.
Yeah. Because of the art look, Paul's stomach hair always kind of bothered me. It's very weird. You know?
It looks like it has faces in it.
It does. Yeah.
like Freddy Krueger when he
Yeah.
had all the souls on his chest.
That is accurate.
Thanks for pointing that out because
You're
now I'll never
welcome.
unsee that.
I see it now, right? Yeah.
And I probably won't sleep very well. All right. Well, let's get into the album here. So, of course, starting it off is King of the Mountain. Number one, of course. I always hate to blow the load, like I've said, right off the bat, but can't help it. God, one of the best album openers. I'm not just talking Kiss, but like in music period. Like, I feel like this is a very underrated. Again, Eric Carr drum part. For some reason, I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough. Just like I forget what we talked about last week. Same thing. I feel like this thing is more iconic than freaking like When the Levee Breaks by Zeppelin. Everybody pumps that up as like, oh, it's it's a cool beat, but I feel like this thing is much more iconic than that. So of course, when it takes off, great song. Paul's vocals are on par. Great song. Love the little breakdown part. It's kind of a sort of a first, for the Kiss stuff. At that point, a little bit of a, syncopation there, which was cool to hear. So great album opener. One of my favorite non-makeup songs. Period. It would definitely be in my top 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's one of the best album openers. I think it's one of the greatest Kiss songs ever recorded. One of my favorite parts about the song is that that little drum part, the guitar part before the lead guitar.
Yeah.
Then at the end of the solo, that when Bruce is done, that's that you don't hear stuff like that in Kiss songs all the time.
Yeah.
Usually the solo starts, it ends, they move on. But there's little breaks in there. And the outro solo in this too was just great. So it's one of the greatest Kiss songs ever recorded. I love it to death. Can't say nothing bad about it. I always say I've Had Nothing to Fire is their greatest, one of the greatest 80s openers, but I get this. I put this at number 2 as far as the greatest. I mean, everybody has their own opinion, but I still think I've had enough in the fire is a little bit better, an opener, stronger. So this song I put at number 7.
There is.
I'll go ahead, Luke. I think it's a great opener. I think it sets the tone for the pace of the album. I think it's got great production on it. The whole album does, and the drum intro is just iconic. I love the same breakdown that you guys mentioned before, and it's still catchy to this day. I mean, every time it breaks down, I'm like, say it. I love that part of the song. It holds up so much more than I thought it would. Like maybe like 90, 91. When other music is coming out,
right?
Like Revenge and stuff. So it's held up great, and I still enjoy it. For me, it's number 5.
Cool.
Nice. Yes, this is number 1 for me as well. I knew it weeks ago. I knew this was going to be number 1. For me, it is kind of a tight competition between King of the Mountain and I've Had Enough as well. Both of those are absolutely classic album openers. I might give it to this one. I think personally, I think I might give it to King of the Mountain. The drum solo at the beginning is absolutely amazing, and then jumping into the upbeat, the way the song goes throughout, and it doesn't let up. Not a bit of this song lets you out. It pumps me all the way up. I wish they would have opened every show on this tour with this song. I think they did at first, and I think they ended up scrapping it, and they shouldn't have. Maybe it just didn't go very good live or something. I'm sure that syncopated bit in the middle was hard to pull off if they couldn't hear each other well enough, which, I mean, you would think they could hear each other fine, but you never know that sort of stuff. I think this was 100% the perfect way to introduce Bruce on record, at least, as the new official lead guitarist. He absolutely kills everything he does in the song. He puts a stamp on this whole album, but he lets you know it from note number 1 in this that it's very different and it's very good. And yeah, that syncopation is a bit progressive, and you don't hear that too often in Kiss songs. So yeah, really neat to hear stuff like that.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, as much as I love the Animalized concert, if only they had waited like another year, and then this song could have been a part of that. Real quick, I forgot to do this before we got going, but I just wanted to pump the brakes real quick. We did get a comment on our Facebook page earlier today that is about this album from Aaron Philpott, so just wanted to read that real quick. He starts off here with a shout out to Chuck. Looking forward to the return of Brother Chuck, he says. Asylum is overlooked and underrated by too many people, not only within the Kiss Army, but also the greater metal community. Some of the deep cuts are my favorites. Trial by Fire is one of the greatest anthems the band ever released. I really love the message of that one. And as far as choruses go, I don't think there's a better gang vocal ever, call and response ever recorded than Any Way You Slice It. I could listen to that on a continual loop all night and every day and never tire of it. Love's a Deadly Weapon. I love it when Kiss hit full speed. The opening guitar solo is simply outstanding. And then he did end up giving us his votes, which of course we'll save for that part of the show. All right. Sorry about that. So moving on, we have Any Way You Slice It. And this one came in at number 8. Again, this album was tough to rank, and I know putting this at 8 sounds pretty bad, but I did enjoy this song. Pretty decent, pretty good Gene song. I'm not gonna say it's like the best Gene song I've heard or anything like that, but it wasn't bad. I definitely liked it better on this listen than what I remember the last time I've played this album in whole. So definitely a pretty solid track.
I always say Eric Carr has 2 characters. One is the fox and the other one is the octopus. And this songs like this is the reason why.
Yeah.
And my opinion has always been that Asylum has been Eric's best work on a Kiss album. I know a lot of people say Creatures is, and to me Creatures is not. To me, it's not his best work. It was his playing on Creatures was pretty basic actually to me. It was just the sound people like, the thunderous drum sound. which it was a unique and cool drum sound, but the playing was just pretty basic, maybe with the exception of Danger, where he was doing a lot of fills and things like that. Anyway, so the long short of it is, I think this is just everything he's doing on this song is just great. So I love Gene's delivery on this song, and I give it am I saying this right? I put it at number 3 on the album for me.
Yeah.
So
I totally.
Plus, let me add this: that little part where you ain't your mother's little daughter, anymore. Something like that seems like it should be cheesy to me, but it's not cheesy. Like I fell in love with the first time I heard that part. I loved that part. I thought it was just so cool that Kiss is doing something like that on the Kiss album. So over the years, I've continued to love it, and it's just not cheesy. So go ahead.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you were saying with Eric. It's like a lot of people gravitate towards Creatures. Yeah, it's mainly because of the drum sound, but I do agree as far as the actual technique, Asylum, and everything to come, or even before and after Creatures, was much better playing. Totally agree with you on that, and yeah, it just feels like people don't talk about anything after Creatures that much when it comes to Eric's playing for some reason. It's like,
right,
listen to these songs, he's doing so much better stuff. Like, just because it isn't a booming kick drum doesn't mean it ain't good.
Right.
Okay, for me, Any Way You Slice It is actually one of my favorite Gene songs from the non-makeup days. I think it's so catchy. I know his non-makeup stuff a lot of time gets overlooked.
Yeah.
But I think this is right up there with the best of Paul's. I would actually put this as I'm putting it as 3, but I'm also putting it as my 3rd favorite non-makeup Gene song behind Unholy and God, I forgot the other one. But I enjoy this track a lot. It holds up. It sounds great. So for me, Any Way You Slice It is 3.
Awesome. Yeah, I gotta agree with both of you guys. 3 for me as well. I gotta tell you, this song has grown on me the most of any other song, maybe on any Kiss album of all time. I just looked, and last time we did this album, this was my number 9, and I remember firmly placing this song among the forgettable Gene crapping out crap at that point. But this time, man, it hit me right, and I can't believe for a second that I ever viewed this as a throwaway. It was definitely the right Gene song of the ones on this album to put near the front. It doesn't quite match the pace of King of the Mountain, but it keeps it. It's upbeat enough that it keeps the energy established with King of the Mountain. And another weird thing that occurred to me on this, if in the tradition of what we've been talking about the last few albums, I could see Eric Carr taking lead vocal on this one. I would be interested to hear that, and I think this could have been the Eric song on the album, maybe. I'm not sure I would have put it second if it was Eric singing, but I think he would have done.
They wouldn't have either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the ending. This might be the most interesting Kiss ending of any of their songs at all. You just don't see it coming, and it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I could totally picture Eric's voice. Any way you slice it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me add to that real quick. I thought I was in the shower the other day, and I was like, it just hit me. I was singing Creatures of the Night in my head, and I go, wow, you know what? I think Eric's voice would have did really good if he did the lead vocals on this song, Creatures of the Night. So
wow,
that's just
I never
me.
thought about
it just
that.
popped into my head.
Sweet.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, again, being that this was number 8, it did hit me differently too. It's like, I admit I was ready to kind of write it off when it first came on. Like, oh, here we go. Like, something like Murder in the High Heels or whatever. But I'll tell you what, it definitely did, catch me a little different this time too. So it's growing.
Yeah.
The song, that is. Who Wants to Be Lonely? Number 7 for me. Man, this is another one of them songs that I'm always kind of like, it's a good song, but it's one that I don't play a lot, and it's almost kind of boring to me at times. Like, just the main the vocals, the all the lyrics, that part of the song, it just gets a little like Paul's just going on. But I do think it's one of Bruce's best solos on the whole album. He definitely showcases his talents on this, like not like he hadn't already, 3 songs in, but this is one of my favorite Bruce solos, even though I say that about the song. I've even seen some lists of Kiss songs where they name this as the #1 Kiss song of all time, believe it or not. So again, there's just that wonderful difference of opinion out there in the Kiss world. So but yeah, number 7 this time for me.
Yeah, Who Wants to Be Lonely? This is definitely one of my favorite Kiss guitar solos of all time. I've always said that when it comes to lead guitar players in Kiss, Ace always has the best feel than any other Kiss guitarist. But Bruce is just definitely second, and solos like this is the reason why. Mm-hmm. And kind of like what I said with the Eric Carr with the Asylum Creatures thing, I say the same thing about Asylum with Revenge. I always say Asylum is Bruce's best guitar work. As to where Revenge sounds a little bit more, a lot of distortion and feedback and just noises that aren't pleasant to the ears, as to where Asylum is a little bit more straightforward with a lot of melody to it. But again, I love the guitar solo. To me, it's one of my favorite Kiss songs of all time. It's my favorite Kiss video of all time. I mean, I love the video. I never get tired of watching it. Having said that, something about this song, I know it wasn't released as a single, but the video was released. But there's always been a disconnect with this song as a single or potential single, whatever you want to call it. And to this day, I still can't put my finger on it. Maybe it's because it didn't sound like nothing else. That was like Tears Are Falling sounds a little bit more relatable for 1985 to other groups that were out there and other rock bands that were doing certain things.
Yeah.
But there's something about Who Wants to Be Lonely that I can't put my finger on, but there's a disconnect with it as being a potential single. But again, I love the song to death, and I put this at number 2. It comes in at number 2 for me on this album.
Okay, for me, I'm going to mirror some of the things you said. As a 13, 14-year-old boy, when Exposed videotape came out and I was watching that, this was one of the songs that was just, to me, I can't hear this song without think of watching Exposed. Mm-hmm. And Exposed kind of just elevated me with Kiss and the other bands that were going at the time. And I think it's that perfect mid-tempo ballad type from the 80s. And just Paul sounds phenomenal, and I don't think he gets enough credit for how good. I mean, this song is just a push or two away from I Still Love You, like in my rankings. So I also have it at number 2, and I think the connect and the remembrance of the video, has a lot to do with that. So I mean, you look back at the pink gloves and stuff now, and it's cheesy, but to a 14-year-old boy, that was so cool in 1986. Yeah. So
to see Paul Van Buren, and I'm not going to beat this. Oh, I'm sorry, I was interrupted. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say. So for me, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, my man. Well, let me just say this. I was going to add to what you said about the gloves. That whole walking intro part he does in the video, where he's singing and he's dancing, doing all that stuff, with the outfit on. To add what you're saying, I agree. It was amazing at that age, being a young teenager watching that video and just seeing that stuff. So yeah, I agree with you.
Just tell us straight, Anthony. You have a replica costume of that in your house.
I do. It's in the closet, hanging up.
Can't hear you, man.
You can't hear me?
No, Luke. I can't hear Luke either.
Oh.
Okay.
So yeah, just why he's got no sound. I'm sure you could do a whole video on Exposed. That was such a game changer for me back then.
Yeah.
And I watch it now. It's pretty stupid with the skits and the.
Yeah.
Back, Luke?
Hello.
There you go.
All right. Good.
I was just filling time.
Yeah. I think way back we did an episode once where we kind of talked about all the different like home video releases, but I would like to do that at some point, like kind of more more thoroughly go through each video, kind of like what we do with the albums or something. Would be kind of fun.
We could do another one like how we did the Kiss Meets the Phantom video and kind of do a Mystery Science Theater 3000.
That's an even better idea. Just do live commentary as we watch each video. Yes,
definitely. That would be fun. So yeah, you guys, I think these polls are starting to look a little like we cheated beforehand. This is number 2 for me also. You know what? I can't believe this wasn't the single. If they only picked one from the album, I cannot support Tears over this. I don't understand how this didn't become a bigger hit. I find this one a little bit more interesting than Tears Are Falling, I think. The choruses and the verses are super catchy. Both things are stuff you get stuck in your head and whistle later. And yeah, that guitar solo. Jeez, that guitar solo. I cannot imagine anything else other than exactly what Bruce played there.
David Smith, he says Asylum is just not one I listen to all the time, but now and then. What the heck? And then he gives us his rankings here. I'm only seeing 8, man.
Should be 9.
Thought there was 10.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, totally. What are we missing?
So
I'm Alive is 1.
And Tears. No, he's got Tears.
Slice It?
Anyway you slice it. No, that's on there. Ah, crap. Hang on here. Look.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Radar.
Ah, yeah. All right, well, I'll put in what he's got, and then, David, if you want to throw those other 2 in there real quick somewhere, then I will make the necessary changes.
All right, moving on. We got Trial by Fire, and this one is number 6 for me this time. This was I enjoyed this one even more than I did Any Way You Slice It. I just thought it was more along the lines of kind of the Animalize stuff and maybe even a little bit of the Lick It Up stuff, just kind of that little bit grittier type of vocal delivery, and almost kind of put me in the Creatures mode at certain points too. But just a much better song in my opinion that I enjoyed more. So number 6.
This this used to be my favorite track on the album for years. I mean, for decades. I just loved the song, everything about it, and I still do to this day. Today it lands at number 10 for me, which surprised me when I was really going through this album again. Like I said, your tastes change after a while, right? What you like and what you don't like. I like it because it represents, to me, it always represented that calm, cool, collective kind of business side of Gene, kind of like She's So European, kind of like similar personalities in these songs. I think of all the Gene songs where he's kind of patting himself on the back for no one's going to tell me what to do and it's my life and all that stuff, I do think this is the best one. I think it's above Thou Shalt Not and Cadillac Dreams and Man of a Thousand Faces and things like that. I like Man of a Thousand Faces better, but I think this is the better song. So
now everything's about your backbone slipping.
I really dig this song. I think Gene sounds good. To me, it kind of reminds me of Crazy Nights. Kind of like it's got a good girl kind of gone bad kind of feel to it. I think it could easily just slip into that album. I think it's a catchy. The part I think that hurts this song is it's surrounded by so many other good songs that are right in that same avenue that it just doesn't stick out above the other ones. So for me, it's 7, but I think it's a really solid Gene song. I just think it's too close. To me, 1 and 2 were easy to pick, but 3 through 9 was, ask me which day, we could do this in 2 months and it might be completely different.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think it's a solid track, but I think it just just lacks a little bit from being a little bit better. But I love his tone in that. I think he sounds great.
Absolutely. Yeah, this one ended up being 7 for me as well. Yeah, I think this song is much more classic Gene than most people give it credit for, too. You know, you can hear the early days in this one. And the chorus song is super catchy. I think I would peg this as the catchiest Gene chorus on this album. Absolutely, you walk away singing it. And then, yeah, I totally get on board with what you were saying, Anthony, about this being the best of the "I Do Whatever I Want" songs. The rest of my notes kind of focus on that. While the lyrics of this one don't bother me, but it puts me in the mind of how often he sings about that. And while like it's a good and it's an important message, and I don't dislike it, but after a while, like, Gene, we get it, all right? No one tells you're freaking Gene Simmons. No one tells you what to do. We get it. Like, come on.
No worries there, David. We got your votes counted for. Thank you.
We got them in.
All right, so we go to "I'm Alive." This one is my number 5. I'll tell you, this one had another great drum intro, and then it just takes off once again. This is definitely, to me, a precursor of something to come on Crazy Nights. I'll kind of save that for that episode next week. But it definitely reminded me of that particular song. And yeah, so this was just another smoker. Great way to end side 1. And yeah, just another great drum track.
Yeah, this was a kind of a throwaway for me over the years. I always thought it was a good song, but I always thought it was a throwaway at the same time. Now I appreciate it and love it more than I did in years past. The way Paul's singing it with those drums behind it, I think it just finally, one day I think I just played it a couple months ago and it just really just kicked in for me. So yeah, this falls in at number 4 for me.
For me, "I'm Alive" is the tail end of the album. It sounds a little bit more to me like "Under the Gun," recycled a little bit. So with that, it just, I mean, to me, there's no skippers on this album, but with the rest of the stuff, I give it a 9, only because there's parts of it where, you know, I almost want to sing "Fire" during it. I'm like, nope, that was last album. So just for that reason, I'll give it a 9.
Nice. Yeah, this is a 6 for me. This one's a bit underrated, I feel like, at least for me. Yeah, definitely draws like "Give Me More" from "Lick It Up" and "Under the Gun" from "Animalize." Those real quick, fast-paced Paul songs, which we don't have a whole lot of. Those 3 are really the big ones where it's just an absolute heart-pumping, what's going on, Paul song. Whereas "King of the Mountain" is upbeat. This one is frantic, you know. Eric just absolutely going nuts from start to finish. I think this was placed in the album in 100% the right spot. Yeah. Right dead in the middle. Just in case you forgot that we're punching you in the freaking teeth with this album, here's another banger. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so going into "Love's a Deadly Weapon," talk about another one that was perfectly placed because, you know, think about this intro for a minute. This one opens side 2. So think about each song that opens both sides. Like, that's one of the few times that Kiss has nailed it. So "Love's a Deadly Weapon" came in at number 3 for me. And again, just another complete smoking song, like back to back. I you know, part of me, well, okay, if you listen to it on a CD, yeah, they're back to back songs, but it's like perfect 1-2 punch right there. You know, just, you know, or even a 1-2-3 punch if you want to throw "King of the Mountain" in front of that. But God, yeah, this is another one that just totally caught me at the right time this time. And I know for a fact this was not in my top 3 the last time we did this album. Just complete like smoker. You know, I felt like I was listening to "King of the Mountain" again when I heard that drum intro start. When I put the needle down, I'm like, I did flip the record over, right?
Yeah, that was actually your number 9 last time.
Jeez, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, this is my one of my favorite Kiss songs of all time. Probably in the top 5 Kiss songs. It's number 1 on this album for me, and I love the way Gene sings it. He's using that to me, it's always been a throwback to the '70s. That almost human, burning up with fever, rocking in the USA kind of voice. He's using that delivery and the growl and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I love that high note he hits at the end.
Oh wow, yeah.
Kind of like the same way he does "Always Knew You Know," all that stuff. Eric and Bruce really own this song. That break in the middle, just that guitar solo with just the drums. That bass going through that boom 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 boom. It's just that's what just got me as a kid or as a teenager. So yeah, it just falls at number one for me on this album. It's my favorite song, and now my favorite song on the album. It used to be "Trial by Fire," but now it's "Love's a Deadly Weapon."
Okay. For me, I'm unfortunately going to bring your vote down a little bit. It's 8th for me. I think it's a solid track, and I love what you were talking about, Eli, about I love how we talk about side 1 and side 2, because back then when you had the vinyl and the cassette, it's so much different than now where everything's just, on Spotify or whatever. But it's so cool I remember that as just a track when you flip it over, the cassette or whatever. It's a really solid Gene track that gets overlooked, but to me there's a 7 better.
Absolutely.
It's very catchy, and I say maybe it would do better on another album, but there's always, Kiss is great. That's why we're here.
Yeah. I mean, there's just something about when you flip it over and put the needle down, and the first song on that side blows your face off too, just like the first one did on. It's just like that just makes you enjoy the experience that much more. Just this is great.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's a good technique too for if anybody accidentally put side 2 on first or something, if they didn't realize it. How often do bands put their ones right in the smack in the middle? You don't want to start your album with that if somebody accidentally puts the wrong side on.
Absolutely.
Because that's 100% something I would do by accident. That is a weird start. Actually, this one came in at number 9 for me this time, and we say this a lot. It's some of these albums that are like our absolute favorites. It sucks putting anything near the bottom because it doesn't feel fair, and that's this one for me. It had to have a number. That's
Right.
This is such a classic riff. I think clearly this was Gene's response to "I'm Alive." Jumping in there right away with the frantic pace again, almost at the beginning, that same crazy double bass drum beat. And the solo, geez, Bruce is just absolutely killing it on this one. And I think this is where he shows kind of what I was talking about last week, where he can shred like Vinny and Mark could at least as well, but something about it when he shreds like this song catches me better than either of the other guys. It's still melodic, it's still memorable, it is still absolutely rip your face off crazy, Whereas some of the time that Vinny and Mark tried to do that same thing, it was fast and it was insane and no one else alive can do that, but didn't quite catch me the same way as when Bruce does it, Yeah,
there's far more Bruce solos pop in my head than anything Vinny or Mark did, and all respect to them too, but it's just the way it is.
Right.
And I gotta hand it to Gene, man. He brings it on this album, and I know a lot of people give him crap for the '80s and everything, but he really brings it on this one. All right, so we go into the big old single here, "Tears Are Falling." This one came in at number 4 for me this time. I like it. It's great. It's definitely catchy. We talked a little last week about Eric and his unconventional drum beats that he would do sometimes. This is another song like that. I was talking about that one outdoor show. There's video of that. Watching him actually play the song is just kind of fun. Just it's such a different type of beat. It's not your traditional. He's not using the hi-hat or anything. But yeah, other than that, it's obviously a catchy chorus. I like Paul's vocals, how they're sort of like kind of soft in a way during the main part there, and then of course the video. Everybody, I think we all pretty much know the video, and the only question I've always had about the video is what the hell does a volcano have to do with anything in that video, in that song?
Tears of lava.
Something I've always wondered, to my knowledge, if I'm correct, well, I believe I am correct, the Who Wants to Be Lonely video came out before Tears Are Falling video. And it even lands, on the third song of the album. So I always wondered why that was. Like, what did they hear to make them go, Who Wants to Be Lonely is going to be our first song that we're going to release as a single or to the public on this album. Why not Tears Are Falling? What didn't they hear on Tears Are Falling? But Tears Are Falling ended up being a bigger hit or a bigger single. And I remember even as a kid being excited because for the first time ever, a Kiss video was getting constant play on MTV. Every time I turn on MTV, Tears Are Falling, which is always on MTV. Even Hands on Fire, Look It Up didn't get that kind of attention. So I was about 11 years old. So it was an exciting time when you always see a Kiss video on TV. But I always wondered that. Why He Wants to Be Lonely and not Tears Are Falling? What was going through their minds at the time? So anyway, moving on. This comes at number 9 for me on the album. I think the song is what it is. It's simple. I think it's flawless. There's nothing to pick apart. My favorite part on this song is that, and now it's raining, looks like. I just think that's just a great touch. Paul's delivery, the drumming on it. The solo was perfect. So yeah, like I said, there's nothing to pick apart. It's just a great song. Comes in at number 9 for me.
I like the one after the solo where he does that little extra thing of like, whatever he's saying there.
Yeah.
falling.
Someone stole your heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
okay.
Look at it this way too. What song are they still playing today? Out of those two.
To me, Tears Are Falling is my number 1, and there's an old saying, it's a hit for a reason. For me, I love this song because there's no fatigue factor. Like whenever I see it in a set list, I think it's a little heavier. The guitars are heavier live, and it's a hit. I mean, it disappoints me so much that this was an MTV hit that didn't transfer over to FM radio like it should have. I mean, this is better than the Slippery When Wet and all the other stuff that was going on at the time, but it just, radio stations weren't playing Kiss, and to me it should have been a hit then, and it could have taken them to even another level. But I enjoy it still. To me, every time I see it, it's still a great song. It doesn't have any fatigue in it. Yeah. So to me, it's the quintessential 80s Kiss song. Yeah, and the video is iconic. I mean, the Vipers and stuff. Yes. It's a cool video. It's a great song. So for me, I can't pick anything other than that for 1.
I wish I could make my windshield wipers look like Paul's hands from that video, and then have like a little cutout of his head at the top.
Not many people would get it, but the people that did get it would, they would worship you.
Like you were saying back at that time, believe it or not, you already had people kind of treating Kiss as the old guys per se.
Right.
When it came to stuff like Bon Jovi, Poison, all Def Leppard, even all that stuff that was like hot at the time, that was getting more attention. And I know Anthony says it in his book. There's a lot of songs that should have gotten a lot of radio airplay over the years, and they just never did.
Definitely. Yes, number 4 for me as well on this one. One of the many Wet Bruce videos.
That's an odd statement.
Poor Wet Bruce. That even he's commented on why did they have to soak me in every video. That's a good point. You know what? This is the one that you can associate. Lick It Up got the title track. Animalize has Heaven's on Fire. Asylum has Tears Are Falling. And for me, I have a similar feeling towards all 3 of those. And I don't know if it's just because it's the hit, so I've heard it more, and therefore it feels a little bit boring on repeat listens. But I can say that I don't feel as strongly towards this one as that same feeling as Lick It Up and Heaven's on Fire. I like this one better than those 2 by a long shot. And a lot of that has to do with Bruce's solo. We talked last week about how weird it is that Lick It Up doesn't have a guitar solo really. Heaven's on Fire doesn't have a guitar solo really. Both solo sections are very simplistic, and it serves the song. It's what it needed. This one has a proper guitar solo, and man, is it a ripper. And again, it's just Bruce doing exactly what the song needed. It's not him shredding the crap out of your face like in Love's a Deadly Weapon, but it's still very technical. This, when we played, when we did this one with Sweet Pain, this was one of my favorite guitar solos to play live. I loved any Bruce solo I got to play, but this one especially it's just fun to play.
Yeah, again, this is kind of just like a what if thing, but I wonder if like maybe they couldn't figure out what kind of solo to put in Lick It Up or Heaven's on Fire. And then, say if Bruce had been in the band at that time, he probably could have put one in there, just like he did for Tears Are Falling.
Right. If they had recorded it the way they did it live with a proper solo, I mean, Bruce knocked it out of the park live. And
I got to say, even as recent as that Kiss 2020 Goodbye, I made a point to mention that I liked how they did Tears Are Falling. They didn't do that whole like a cappella intro that they've kind of been doing, and they just went right into the song, and it fit. It kind of sounded nice and somewhat heavy, believe it or not, like for that song. But I thought that was a good performance.
I was thinking just now of other rock songs from the 83, 84 era that were hit songs that didn't have guitar solos or a major guitar solo in the song, and I couldn't think of any because I was thinking for a second was Kiss following that trend at that time, but I can't think of nothing. Most of those hit songs at that time had guitar solos in them.
Yeah, that's true. I have nothing strikes me right off the bat either. Because I mean that was kind of the begin, like, I don't know, the golden era of all the shredding at that point.
Right.
That's about all that was out there. All right, Secretly Cruel, number 2 for me. Definitely my favorite Gene song on the album. I think the chorus is super catchy. Secretly Cruel. Just another underrated Gene song. I know we tend to say that on almost every album, but it's true. There's, it's an underrated Gene song. And I love this song more and more every time I listen to it. And, to me, it's kind of getting up in that range of like, Fits Like a Glove or, even like Not For That. That's another one that I kind of compare it to. Number 2 this time. Great song.
I would say, this is one of my favorite Gene songs of all time. It's just one of those songs I love to sing along to. This comes in at number 5 for me. But I was going to say, I get why, of all the song choices, I get why All Night was the third choice to release as a video. But looking back in retro, if I had that control, if I was the label, I would have pushed this song as a single.
Yeah.
I think for 1985, everything that was going on in 1985 musically, from pop songs to country to rock, everything, this was catchy. Now, I'm not saying it would have been a big hit for them. Maybe it would have, maybe it wouldn't have. But I'm saying I definitely would have gambled on pushing this as a single. I think it was catchy enough. It was fun enough. I think it would have worked on radio. And I think I was thinking the other day, I was like, if let's say if Aerosmith had done this on, say, like their Permanent Vacation album, and I could hear Steven Tyler singing this verse and then singing this chorus, I think Aerosmith could have turned it into a hit just because it was them. So again, I think this could have been a better single than All Night, but I understand why at the time why they pushed All Night. So
I think even if like one of the popular female singers of that time would have done it, kind of like down the road with Hide Your Heart and Bonnie Tyler, something like that would have happened. It maybe could have been a big single for that person.
Right.
Okay, Secretly Cruel for me, I'm gonna have to agree with some of the things Anthony said. It had potential to be a single. It had that great Gene vibe, but I think maybe just with his look at the time, if you can imagine Asylum as a makeup album, if he's singing that song other than like a bright pink outfit that he was wearing then, it's so different. I mean, it's kind of like the Asylum Dr. Love. I mean, it's that kind of good vibe, but since it's 80s Gene, it's forgotten. I mean, they didn't do it live. That would be a cool one for him to bring back if he ever starts back to solo stuff.
Yeah.
It's a solid track. For me, it's 4. But that would have been a good makeup Gene song.
Yeah, I definitely don't like that all the videos were all Paul songs. That's where I get a little like, we should have had at least one Gene song.
Yeah.
But
I think maybe that was part of the struggle back then. Gene was doing his thing. Maybe that was Paul's, if you're going to do this thing and I'm going to do the work, I'm getting the singles. And, I mean, this is just a guess, but maybe it was Paul was the better looking of the two then. I mean, they're competing.
I was going to say.
Brett Michaels.
Right.
I mean, being around back then, Brett Michaels and Bon Jovi and all those other lead singers, those Pretty Boy lead singers, it was a big deal back in those days. And Gene just couldn't fill those shoes. Obviously, Paul could. So
unfortunately, people look with or listen with their eyes.
Yeah, and
especially that time.
Yeah, and at this point, we haven't had a Gene video since "I Love It Loud."
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Insane. Yes, this one came in at 8 for me just this time. This is another reason that I really like the song. It gives me a bit of a nostalgic thing. It's the riff calls back to Early Kiss. I think we talked about this last time. We've talked about it before, but the main riff of the song, is almost Mr. Speed.
Yeah, it sure is.
So yeah, I love that it calls that nostalgic Early Kiss feeling back. And maybe this one isn't like the most memorable thing of all time, but man, this is another one people slap into that Gene doesn't give a crap in the 80s, and it just shouldn't be there. Maybe it's not on par with Tears Are Falling, but dang it is a good catchy song.
Yes, absolutely. Robbie Stars, what's up? He has chimed in. Alan, here's our weekly lesson from Robbie. Alan Schwartzberg played on many drum fills and overdubbed Eric's drums on a few parts in the Gene songs. There's an interview about this with Mitch LaFon. Asylum is a great rocking 80s album. He gives it an 8.
Got it in.
All right, moving on here. We got 2 songs to go. Radar for Love, my number 10. That's really about it. That's the only thing about this album. It's a great album, but the last 2 songs to me are just kind of the weak part of the whole album. And this is just one of those that I always kind of lose my concentration and not really paying attention when I listen to it. So.
Oh, that's funny. No, Radar for Love was a skipper and pretty much a throwaway for me back in the day growing up. But now I do love it to death. I think of all the songs of this album, this song has the best riffs in it and rhythm guitar parts. I think there's like 4 different parts, rhythm riffs in this song, and it's just the more I key in on the guitar and forget about all the other stuff, it makes me I love it.
Yeah.
So this falls in at number 8 for me.
For me, it's definitely the weakest track on the album. It's 10 for me. I kind of set my bar high for 80s Paul, and it just didn't stand out. It wasn't anything special. So I think they were trying for a Zeppelinish sound, and it wasn't even Kingdom Come. So, but like I said, I hold Paul's song pretty high, so to me it didn't cut it.
Kingdom Come.
I gotta agree. This was 10 for me too, and I will admit this one hit me better on this listen through than any other time that I've heard it. I had already placed it at number 10, and after I heard it, I wanted to put it higher and just couldn't. I couldn't bring myself to put any of the other songs lower than this.
Right.
And here's my Simon moment for the episode, guys. The moment where most of our listeners stop valuing my opinion at all. I 100% agree that they were kind of trying to evoke Led Zeppelin, and I just don't like Led Zeppelin. Sorry, everybody. Not a big fan, never have been. It's still, I'm not sorry that it's on the album, though. Having said all of that, it's still a worthy contribution. I don't hate the song or even really dislike it, but it definitely feels like filler compared to the other Paul songs on this album.
Absolutely. Robbie says lots of 80s Gene songs are straightforward rock and roll, while Paul's songs were more glam radio sounding. Gene songs have aged better, in my opinion. I don't know, man. It's kind of because I feel like the Paul songs are the ones that we generally still know the most, as far as what gets played and everything. But yeah, there are some great Gene songs during that period, though. Don't get me wrong.
I think that goes back to whether you're a Gene or Paul guy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a Gene Demon guy, you're going to say, man, it's a Gene album. I'm a Paul guy, so.
See, I like so many of both, though. It's like
right.
I'm just a Kiss guy.
Yeah.
So closing out the album, unfortunately, is All Night. This came in at number 9 because I already put something worse at 10. Yeah, this is another song that I would have to say is probably my least favorite of all. Pretty much all Kiss songs, or at least let's say like the singles, or the most well-known songs off each album. It's just another one that I've always thought was a little boring. I don't like the intro to it. Never cared for the video. I'm not a big fan of the chorus, the way they're singing it, and just that whole I just think that sounds dumb, and that's just me. But and again, I don't like that it closes out the album. I felt like something else could have easily been a better closer, or maybe even swap out, the song for something completely different that had been, tossed around. Like, I'm sure they had to have had, Sword and Stone, or what's the other one around? It had to be in the radar.
Time Traveler.
Time Traveler had to be in the radar around this time. That would have been great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, All Night. I've always loved this song since I was a kid, so I don't have a problem with it. I get why people don't like it, and I get why the title All Night, and I get the lyrics and the chorus. But I grew up with the song, and I've always loved it mainly because of the guitars and the drums. I like everything about it. Paul's delivery. If I could go back into a time machine, I say, hey, let's just redo the title and let's redo the lyrics and the chorus and come up with something else. But it is what it is, and whenever it comes on, it's just time to get serious and turn it up for me. So this comes in at number 6 for me.
With this song, for me, it doesn't bother me. I think it's the cheesy Kiss that we love. I think they were. It's the sex sleaze song. The chorus lacks. I think what they were trying to do with this one, they got it right with I Just Wanna. Like they were close, but they didn't get it right till Revenge on that one. But with the video, and I don't mind it. It's a 6. It's not the best. It's not the worst. They could have definitely. I mean, we've talked about this throughout the episode. They could have done better singles in this one, but it's still seeing Kiss is awesome.
Yeah.
So 6 for me.
Nice. Yeah, I had never made that connection before, but I absolutely agree. I Just Wanna does the same thing but better. Yeah, absolutely. This one came in at number 5 for me. The song is so catchy. I've always kind of liked it. It could have or should have been a hit. Maybe it's not really surprising that it wasn't, but I think the lyrics they're a little too hokey to be taken serious for the general public, but I've always found them hilarious, and I mean that in a good way. Maybe even a little bit more clever than Kiss tended to be with sex puns. It's not Log in the Fireplace or Come On Lick My Candy Cane or something earlier on this album, something about bees in a hornet nest. And what else I find interesting about the song is just the general energy. It's not necessarily an upbeat song, but the pulse of the song still creates this exciting energy that makes you want to move. And as I was typing that note, it occurred to me why maybe they did that, and that it was intentional to kind of go with what the lyrics were talking about. And I was suddenly like, God, geez, yeah, all right. But yeah, I don't hate this song as a closer, but the same thing we've been talking about for episodes and episodes and episodes and episodes. Don't end your album with a fade out. Come on, come up with a freaking ending.
I think part of it too is,
speaking of closing albums. I was gonna say, I've always thought that on the album "I'm Alive" and "All Night" should have switched places. They should have closed with "I'm Alive" and closed side one with "All Night." In my opinion.
I can see that. Yeah, I mean, two other things, little things I forgot to mention about that song is, for one, I think one thing about that is I always get a dancing in the street vibe by the way Paul sings "Everywhere Around the World." It's like almost dancing in the street. And then I also love the way Paul says "zoo" when he's like, "We're living in a human zoo."
That's at New York.
Yeah.
Can I say something? Let me add that. I always where Paul says zoo. I always say "view."
Yes.
Living in human dew. Robbie said he loves the music till All Night. The lyrics are horrendous. Bruce saves the song for him. Yeah, I think another thing too is just that. It's like, so you can title something "Bang Bang You" and blah blah blah, "Burn Bitch Burn," but then you just use all night. Like, why can't you just say like "Bang All Night" or whatever?
Yeah.
I think in the same way that they kind of prompted everybody to say "fuck," and I want to again drawing that comparison. They were hoping that they could get.
Yeah, like even if they had done that at this point instead of "Revenge," like "fuck" all night, like it would have kind of sounded dumb. But then when you hear it, it's a different thing.
Right.
All right, so wrapping up the album there, so we'll get into our overall ranking. So for me, again, I really enjoy this album. It has definitely grown on me. Just to kind of go back and reiterate from the last time we did this, there was a time where I was one of those people that probably only listened to maybe 2 or 3 songs off of this album. And I think a lot of it had to do with judging the book by the cover because of the music videos and the costumes they were wearing at the time. It was definitely kind of like that was a horrible era. So of course I kind of wrote off the music because of that. But I will definitely admit, that's a nice shot. I will definitely admit that when we did this album the last time on this show, that's when it just like really like smacked me in the face, and I just immediately had a better appreciation for this album as a whole. And I realized like, wow, this is like actually a pretty heavy album. It's not a bunch of like glammy stuff or whatever. And I was like, this is pretty heavy. Like it almost rivals Revenge, Lick It Up, whatever. But so I definitely gained a bigger appreciation for it. And again, every time I listen to it, it just grows more and more. Again, the songs are catching me differently, even on this listen as other times. So, but yeah, I give it an 8. And again, the production I think is great. Eric's drums sound great again. As I say with just about every Kiss album, I feel like it could definitely hold up today compared to a lot of things. Like to me, the Kiss music doesn't sound dated. Like I never put it in that classic rock, category as I do so much other stuff. Like to me, Kiss isn't classic rock. It just sounds different to me. But yeah, so it's definitely a strong 8 on this album.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get this album. Yeah, I was thinking about this when I was driving earlier. What do I really rate this album? And I always say, of all the Kiss albums in the decades, I always say the 80s albums to me have aged the best.
Mm-hmm.
And this album is just another example why that is. Without beating this up, I'm gonna have to give this album, I gotta give it a 10. I don't hand out 10s that often, but I gotta give this album a 10.
All right.
I give this album a solid 8. I think if you listen to this album, there's a lot of songs that are Animalized style but better. I think that they got better and maybe more commercial, maybe more polished. But if you have the Animalized look with this album, I think it's a little bit more successful. And you sometimes forget how close these Kiss albums are, because some bands, one album to the next is like a 3-year period. Sometimes they change this much in just a matter of months. If you keep the Animalized costumes and have a less glam cover, I think a lot of people like this more, and people do discriminate against this album.
Yeah.
And I think in my Kiss catalog, it gets more listens than probably some of the classics that people would shake their head at. I know I listen to it more than Creatures, and maybe even Revenge. So it's a solid 8 for me, and it was a cool time for I hate that there's not a DVD release of it just because it's such a show then, but so it's an 8 for me.
You mean of exposed, or what did you mean?
Just a live DVD.
Oh, for that
Just
tour.
As a bootleg concert collector, I would love to have a full pro shot.
Yeah, there's
DVD
not a lot
of it.
Not a lot of Asylum stuff out there for some reason, especially not pro shot.
No, I'm going to show this. If there's vinyl collectors out here.
Oh yeah.
This is one of my favorite vinyl pieces because it's a soundboard from the tour.
Nice.
And it's a cool time because it's the tour with the least first 6 Kiss albums represented at only 3.
Wow.
And those 3 are Cold Gin, Love Gun, and Detroit, and everything from that is Creatures to Asylum.
Nice.
So it's a cool period. I mean, we have so many of the classic tours, Love Gun and Detroit Rock City and Shout Out Loud Till You Could Puke.
Yeah.
But some of these songs are well represented, and I love this time period.
Yeah.
So
and they've got Pro Shot in the vault on Kissology too. It's in the background of the menu screen. There's no concerts in the actual DVD, but they've got footage, dang it.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's a Kiss gripe that I have, and it always bothered me. In that part of an Exposed where they're in that room and they're dusting off these VHSs and stuff, and they're like, this is the Kiss. Everything that they've ever released, I already have.
Yeah.
It's like, I have that same stuff. Where's your archives? Here, of course, in '86, I was like, I would love that Winterland show. That's the greatest thing ever. But every time they did a Kissology, it was pretty much what we already had. That was so disappointing.
Yeah, and in some cases, the bootleg versions out there were better quality than what they released.
My Largo is better than theirs.
They cut stuff out of their Largo release.
Wow.
Some of it, like Tossing and Turning, might have been like a rights thing, but I don't mind the imperfections. That's what makes it live. I know they cut out Rise to It in 3, and they didn't like it. That's the live things. Gene messing up the words, or even if they mess up, it's live. Don't cut it. So anyway, it was a cool era for me. I love this time period, and maybe because I was living it. I was watching the videos as a kid. I was buying the VHSs. I didn't get to see the tour, but there was as big of rock stars then as anybody to me, as goofy as they looked.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was always a special time for me because that's right around that time that I was getting to the age where I was old enough to really understand it and see the videos and all that. And it's a great thing.
Yeah. This one ended up being a 10 for me as well. I think this is the only 10 I'm going to give this time. I think I had a couple last time we went through all this, like you, Eli. But yeah, if there's one that's a 10, it's this one. This is the one that always caught me the most when I was young, when I was coming up. I I went through really big band phases, and maybe you guys have done this too, but when I latched onto a band, that's the only thing I cared about, and I listened to very little else. I was a Beatles nut for a long time. That's all I listened to. After that, I attached myself to Def Leppard, and that's all I listened to. And the only thing that pried that Def Leppard bar off was, and it was the guitar solos that caught me. It was Phil Collins just going nuts, and I had never heard anybody play like that, and it blew my mind. And what pried me away from that and into my Kiss phase finally was Dad saying, you know, Kiss, that stuff we've been listening to since you were in diapers, all of that stuff, you know, they had guitarists that did crazy stuff like that too. It wasn't always just Ace. What? So then he introduced me to Lick It Up, Animalize, and Asylum. And of those three, I attached myself to this album. This was my album. And then the whole no makeup era was my thing for a long time. And finally, I branched out into the whole thing and appreciated the entire spectrum. But yeah, geez, this is so underrated. I can't believe how many people absolutely hate this album. And I know it's a difference of opinion. I'm not trashing you if you don't like the album. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. I just hope that I hope you've given it a chance. That's all I'm saying. I hope that you don't dislike it just because you haven't given it a chance. This, for me, hits more than any other Kiss album, hits me exactly or pretty much exactly what I want to hear every beat of the way through the album. Perfect. Eric, Bruce, and Paul, I think, at the top of their game. And Gene, I think he's close. I think the only reason that I wouldn't put Gene in that list is because his interests may have been a little bit too divided. And I think his songs don't quite hit. I'm not saying they're bad at all. I'm not sure that anything for me on this album hits Gene-wise as much as the Paul songs do. But he still manages some of his most catchy and memorable songs of this era on this album. And I don't feel at all that these songs are as bad as people say, the Gene songs on this. I'm not sure I've heard any. You know, we talked last time we did these albums about Gene's 80s crappy songs. And at least on this run through, I haven't heard of one, not a one. Even ones that I would have pegged as that before don't feel that way now. You know, my favorite part of this album is Bruce. I think it goes without saying. Everything he contributes, from his rhythm tracks, some of the best guitar solos on any Kiss song, in my opinion, the whole discography. His style in this era speaks to me in a way that no other Kiss guitarist does. And I know Anthony's touched on this a little bit too. They calmed him down for Revenge, and I know they did that on purpose. The Gene and his buzzing bees thing, right? They asked him to play more for the song or whatever, and stylistically speaking, he did more what they wanted. That's fine. But for me, what he's doing here is playing for the song.
Yeah.
I don't think he needed Calm Down. This is 100%. And Eric, of course, close second to Bruce, is my favorite part about the album. Kills it on every song. The drums, I'm not sure that the drums sound evolves much from Animalize, but it didn't need to. It was already perfect. It retains that huge sound that Eric became known for without just eating up the mix like it does on Creatures a little bit. You also hear the start of the electronic toms and stuff. You know, he was using the electronic pads at this point. I wonder now that Robbie's mentioned that if the electronic pads weren't Alan Schwartzberg on some of these, but you can hear them on the records for the first time on this album. Just occasionally on a fill, in addition to the acoustic drums, there will be an electronic pad tom as well. And one thing that I love about that is that he doesn't overdo it. It would be so easy to overdo it or make every tom fill like that. But he knows exactly where to put them, right where it would add a little bit of extra power, change the mood of the song. Doesn't get old at all. So, you know, overall, I recognize I'm a weird kid and I have a weird opinion. But if I'm only allowed to bring one to the island, it's this one.
That's cool.
Chuck, what's the date on that show for the vinyl you were
It is Charlotte Coliseum, December 28th, 85. And I know there's the vinyl's on the pricey side, but it's also available on CD if you're an eBay guy. And another thing that's really cool is it comes with a Replica tour book.
Nice.
That's about the size of like paper, but I mean the color on the inside is just. It came with stickers. I didn't even realize that. But I mean, you get to see the tour book and the colors.
I'm telling you, the people that put out these bootlegs just knock it out of the park. Kiss is missing the boat. They such a great presentation, and
I hate that they don't own their catalog like Metallica does, because I mean I look at eBay prices and some of these records go well over 100.
yeah,
Why isn't this on the Kiss store for $49.99?
exactly.
I mean,
there's bands like I don't know, the Grateful Dead, where like every single record store day they're putting out a new live, album or something of whatever show. It's like, I wish Kiss would do that, like,
And again, I think that's why we don't have a Gene video off of this album. The old, but yeah, this is a cool set, and it sounds great. I love the set.
I was just looking, and I do have that show here on my computer, but
it's a great show.
I would definitely rather have that vinyl version, because that's a great package.
Cool red.
Nice. I mean, as a Kiss fan, I'm always saying I wish Gene and Paul would just release this and release that, and I have my own fantasy, packages I wish they'd release. And wouldn't it be cool if they did Asylum with a new cover that was more metal and harder, all that stuff I come up with in my head. But I think I've always thought Gene and Paul are just out of touch with fans, what fans really want, especially when you have that many fans that like different eras. And if Gene and Paul could just sit down with like 20 fans, real hardcore fans, not just 70s fans, but fans that loved all eras and genres and the 80s and 90s, etc., and just say, what do you guys really want? What can we do for you? What kind of package can we give you? That would be great, but it's just never going to happen. So,
yeah, I see enough.
Like you said, the Kissology was it was kind of disappointing, because I've been buying bootleg Kiss VHS tapes for years, and I've had all that better stuff than that on bootleg, so
right.
Absolutely.
But
well, part of the problem with that too, with what you were saying, is Gene actually listening. He would have to genuinely listen to everyone, not just cut people off when they would start, giving excuses about this or that or whatever. Like, he would need to genuinely listen.
My only hope is these vaults open after they're done. Maybe they're saving that for their retirement, because I mean, before this all happened, they were making the money touring.
Yeah.
But to me, I've seen enough figures and Hello Kitty dolls, and I mean, there's too much of that stuff. Some of these Winterland on vinyl would just bring so much joy to people.
Yeah, part of me kind of holds that, that hope too, that maybe once they do hang it up for good, that maybe we will start seeing some things like that come out.
So, and I know some of it's licensing, and they might not, but a lot of the cool releases on vinyl right now are not even them. It's fans doing it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you look at so many of these bootleg things that have come out, and they're just, the packaging is unreal. Like the thing they include, and I mean, it's better than anything Kiss has put out officially since, like, I don't know, like whatever album that was the last one to include an extra in it or something, like Sonic Boom or something.
They've got to kind of disconnect on what fans want, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe it's the fact that they make tons of money hand over fist.
Yeah, and sometimes it's almost like, here, we'll tell you what you want, like some of the stuff they put out, and it's like, nah, not really, because we already have a better version of that. Or, where's volume 4 that you've promised for the last 15 years or whatever?
And I think they really hurt themselves on the 2020 on the highest ticket price they put on there, that it was coming to theaters. How many people, myself included, said, no, I'll wait till April and go see it for $10 at a theater instead of watching it on my phone.
True.
I think that was a bad marketing. They could have said that afterwards, but to me, to say, it's going to be coming in 4 months, that just hurt the buy rate, in my opinion.
Part of me wonders if that's really still going to happen, though, showing it in theaters. I don't know.
Yeah. Before the shutdown, concerts were pretty. When I went and seen the Vegas, it was packed.
Yeah.
But I mean, people were going to theaters then.
Right. but I just wonder if they're still going to actually do it, even though, because you had the people that ordered it, and
Right.
the people that got the Blu-ray package, and then you got all the people that have put it all over YouTube now. So it's like, which again, I have doubts that they'll do this, but if they were to throw something a little extra with it, like I don't know, like, because I'm not talking the documentary that they showed before the thing. Like, it would have to be something completely different to make it like really, tantalize you to want to go just to see that, or something. Like if it was some rare unreleased, like we're going to show the freaking original version of Thrills at the Night video, or something like that. Like that would be like, whoa, amazing.
Right.
Kiss fans love to buy stuff.
Yeah, my brother, I mean,
Go ahead, Ann.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Kiss fans love.
I was just gonna say that.
We do that all the time. You go ahead, Anthony.
I'll go ahead. My brother and me, we still, because they gave us the option to get our money back, because we had tickets for Phoenix in last September, and we didn't take the option to get the money back because it's still going to be a concert, but who knows when though. But I'm still looking forward to it. I still want to go, and I still want to say goodbye, and I just want to get that that last concert in and have fun with Kiss fans, and I mean just want to go have fun, and when
I opted to get the refund only because I was afraid that Ticketmaster would go under or something if it never happened. If it does happen, I'll be able to get tickets still. So I opted for the refund just because you never know when the world's going to return. Mm-hmm. And every year the talk's clicking on on those guys.
Yeah. I know our date is like September 6th or something like that. This is the rebook for this year, and hoping that it does happen, but who knows.
I don't see it. I hope so, but I don't see it.
Yeah. Real quick one to show regarding this album. I have the 12-inch single for Tears Are Falling, along with a live version of Heaven's on Fire, and Any Way You Slice It, it's a UK pressing on Vertigo.
Does it say where the Heaven's on Fire is from?
It does not. All it says is previously unreleased.
Could have been from the Animalized Live Uncensored.
I don't think it is, because I'm pretty sure it's a whole different version as far as the stage rep and everything. But yeah,
that's a nice piece.
Yeah. Let me check here real quick. No, don't see that. Discogs doesn't say anything. So yeah, I'm not 100%. I'm sure there's probably information somewhere that says where that came from. But all right, we'll get into our true confessions here, and then get the final tallies. All right. True confessions. Anyone that's in the chat still, Robbie, let's hear yours too. So Chuck, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Can someone else go first? I'm not quite sure what you're wanting from me.
Sure, Anthony.
Yeah, my true confession, and it's kind of riding off what Chuck said earlier about it was just the times and everything. But I don't have that big of a problem with the way Gene looked during the Asylum era. I know he had some times where the wigs were a little too much, and some of the outfits, I mean, that big red sweater he wears on stage, I think that was a nightmare. But overall, I think I like the way Gene looked, and I think even in the videos, all the videos, he managed to look a little menacing, even with those outfits on. He looked a little intimidating. I mean, especially Who Wants to Be Lonely. There were times I thought, damn, Gene looks really tough, but I don't have a problem with the way he looked, and I think it was kind of cool, and it's just what it was. Like Chuck said, it was just the times, 1985, and yeah, so that's my true confession.
All
right, I'm ready for mine. I think I kind of mentioned it before. My true confession is I like this album more than Creatures of the Night.
All right.
I think it's funner. To me, I just have a better tie to it. I go back to it probably 3-1. Maybe it's because my favorite Creature songs are overplayed a little bit, but
yeah, I get it. Sometimes you get a little fatigue, and you
the
kind of step away from the album for a little while.
the Asylum songs, you have to look for them, and they don't just find you as much.
Absolutely.
So the fatigue factor isn't there. Maybe a lot of it is just, the memories of. I think that might have been my first album buying it as it came out. So I definitely had it before Crazy Nights on cassette. So that's mine. I like it better than Creatures.
Okay. Well, mine, I kind of touched a little bit, but getting more into it as far as, all the singles being Paul songs and no Gene, single videos. But also, God, what was I getting ready to say? I forget. Shoot. Come back to me. Go ahead, Luke.
All right. Yeah, I think of singles kind of weird. I think it's clear that they picked the right single in the long run. Tears Are Falling has become one of their biggest ones, one of the only no makeup songs that has remained in their set list. Obviously, they picked the most catchy song on the album. When I think of a single, I tend to think of it more as what would represent this album as a whole. If somebody only listened to this one song and I wanted them to get a picture of what the entire album is, I don't feel like Tears Are Falling captures that. I feel like King of the Mountain or Who Wants to Be Lonely would have captured that better. Catchier song? No, nope, absolutely not. Maybe Who Wants to Be Lonely, but that might just be my personal taste jumping in the way. But at least if you're thinking about it in essence of what encompasses the album best as a single song, I think either King of the Mountain or Who Wants to Be Lonely does that better than Tears.
Totally.
Did you find it, Eli?
No, I'm blanking.
Edit that out.
I guess that's it. Gene had a video, a song. Move on.
So rankings then? We good? We ready for rankings?
Yeah.
All right, so we start the album out with King of the Mountain. This is my number one. So you guys know, you've just seen. Oh my God, Eli's disappeared. That's just Eli now. That's good. Yes. So you've seen the four of us. You've seen our entire rankings. We are including quite a bit in this one, so let me jump through these as quick as I can. Of course, we've got David Smith, who was in our live chat today. You can check out the live chat for his entire list. His top three this time were All Night, Who Wants to Be Lonely, and King of the Mountain. I just realized I cannot believe the amount of times I'm going to have to say in this. We've got
Make it spirit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just say Human Zoo and we'll know what you're talking about.
Human Zoo. Yeah. We've also got votes from Savannah, our normal third co-host here. She gave this album a 9.5, and her top three were King of the Mountain, Who Wants to Be Lonely, and Tears Are Falling. We got votes from Steve McGowan. He gave this album a 4 out of 10, which hurts me profusely. His top three, Who Wants to Be Lonely, Tears Are Falling, and King of the Mountain. Wait till you hear what he gave it last time. We've also got votes from his sister-in-law, Rochelle McGowan, who gave this album a 7 out of 10. Her top three, King of the Mountain, Who Wants to Be Lonely, and Tears Are Falling. We got votes from Aaron Philpott, who gave this a 7 out of 10. His top three, Love's a Deadly Weapon, Any Way You Slice It, and Trial by Fire. I appreciate being able to say some different songs there. Robbie Stars gave this album an 8 out of 10. We're also counting votes from last time we did this. Last time I gave this an 8 out of 10, and my top three were I'm Alive, Who Wants to Be Lonely, and King of the Mountain. Eli gave this a 5 out of 10 last time. Top three, Radar for Love, King of the Mountain, and Tears Are Falling.
Wait a minute.
Radar for Love was your number three, weren't you?
No,
saying
it wasn't.
that song
You rigged that. You're full of shit. You right there.
I swear to God.
I was thinking that too. I'm like, wait a minute, didn't he say anything like that? Or
Yeah. Must have hit you different a couple years ago there.
Must have been on crack or something.
Yeah. We're also counting votes from my dad from last time. He gave us a 6 out of 10 in his top 3: King of the Mountain, Tears Are Falling, and All Night. Steve McGowan from last time gave this album a 2 out of 10.
Jesus.
In his top 3: Who Wants to Be Lonely, Tears Are Falling, and King of the Mountain. This was one of the episodes we did in the original 4K, so we got votes from my younger brother from that. His top 3: Tears Are Falling, All Night, and King of the Mountain. Savannah from that original airing, her top 3: All Night, Tears Are Falling, and Who Wants to Be Lonely. My younger sister Magenica, her top 3: Tears Are Falling, Trial by Fire, and King of the Mountain. We've also got votes from Robbie Stars last time, gave this a 7 out of 10. Top 3: King of the Mountain, Secretly Cruel, Tears Are Falling. Jay Rucker, 9.5 out of 10. His top 3: King of the Mountain, Any Way You Slice It, and All Night. Jay's dad gave this a 10 out of 10. His top 3: All Night, Love's a Deadly Weapon, King of the Mountain. Jay's niece also ranked this 8.5. Top 3: Radar for Love, Tears Are Falling, and I'm Alive in number 1. Rochelle McGowan from last time ranked this 5 out of 10. Her top 3: King of the Mountain, Who Wants to Be Lonely, and Tears Are Falling. Jason Vanover last time ranked this 9 out of 10. His top 3: All Night, Tears Are Falling, and Who Wants to Be Lonely. Almost done. Gianni Ottaviani last time, his top 3: Who Wants to Be Lonely, Tears Are Falling, and King of the Mountain. Jacob Hicks gave this an 8 out of 10. And finally, Rain in Adamstown last time gave this a 9.5 out of 10. His top 3: King of the Mountain, Secretly Cruel, and Any Way You Slice It.
Wow.
That's a lot. That might be more votes than any other episode. So thank you everybody very much.
It seemed like the majority of the people that voted on this, or what you just did there, was looks like Paul songs overpowered Gene songs. So
Definitely.
A lot of the video songs.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So putting all that together, I think everybody's got probably a pretty decent idea of at least the top 3. This did end up with an average of 7.6 out of 10, which is pretty good. That puts it 1 point below Animalize, which is a little strange. Puts it right on par with Hotter Than Hell, which I definitely don't agree with. Let's get Asylum up a little bit more than that.
Lord.
Puts it under Dress to Kill at 7.8. Little above Paul Stanley, who has 7.1. Yeah, let's get that up a little bit more, guys. I don't know. In 10th place, dead last for this time, Radar for Love. Sorry, Eli. I know you love that one.
Oh, darn. I wish we could get more votes.
In 9th place, Love's a Deadly Weapon. In 8th place, I'm Alive. Yeah, I know that's kind of low. I didn't expect that. Same with I'm Alive in 8th place, seems a bit low. In 7th place, again, surprising, Trial by Fire. In 6th place, Secretly Cruel. In 5th place, Any Way You Slice It. Just barely missing the top 4. So our top 4 for this week, baffling me, All Night in 4th place. In 3rd place, Who Wants to Be Lonely. In 2nd place, Tears Are Falling. And with a pretty blazing lead in 1st place, King of the Mountain.
See, this is one of them albums that suffers from the video songs. That's like the 3 songs that everyone wants to gravitate towards.
Right.
Might be the same for Hot in the Shade too.
That's what I'm worried about.
Right. Looks like we got some other. We got some either comments or are those confessions, maybe?
Basically, just Robbie and David are both praising Bruce's work.
Absolutely.
On the album. So that wraps us up for Asylum. Of course, next week will be Crazy Nights. Definitely another somewhat controversial album in the Kiss army.
Don't worry though, if in case you are worried, after the Crazy Nights episode, we're going to Hot in the Shade, and we are freaking skipping Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits. Woo!
Yeah. 2 songs come off of that into our fantasy album at the very end, which again we'll remind you guys about.
I like those 2 songs.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, that wraps up the episode for the album. Any other topics you guys want to get into? I'm game.
Today the Pink Killers dropped as far as the pre-orders. Did you see the shipping on that?
I heard something. Isn't it like 40?
It's like 90 US.
Oh, what?
Wow.
Yeah. The package they were offering was Killers, and they I think Down on Your Knees single, and after shipping it's like 140.
Oh my god.
I just don't have to have it. I mean, if it throw it in a US store for $50, I'm all over it, but I don't, since I already have it. If it would have been a hard to get one, kind of like Symphony or Sonic Boom, I would say I need to get it, but I already have it, so I'm happy with the copy I got for 130.
Absolutely.
So I mean it's beautiful. I mean that's the exact color it should be.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted one, but 90 shipping is just.
But there's not really any other extras that come with it that makes it even somewhat worthwhile.
I think there's a book and stuff, but I don't know. For $90, you got to have either Bruce or Tommy or somebody's got to knock on my door and have me sign for it. So I mean that's
what you collect mostly. I was going to ask you, is that what you collect mostly is vinyl stuff, vinyl records?
I have both. I have a lot of bootlegs. I have the catalog on both CD and vinyl, but I love bootlegs, and a lot of the shows are just so, like Anaheim. I'd love to have that on vinyl, but it's hard to find one under 130. So for those, I have some on vinyl, but a lot of them are just so much cheaper to get on CD. Like I think I paid $12 for my Anaheim CD.
Yeah, it destroys Anaheim here.
There's another newer one too that's like looks like the sign that was.
Yeah, there's tons of versions of this thing out.
So they're not cheap.
And some of them you gotta watch too, because some of them they'll release it under a different name. Right. And then come to find out it's the same show. And
then I hate when they're in 2 different parts. Like I don't want to buy part 1 and then find part 2. Put it on one double disc.
Right.
So anyway,
what kind of quality do you get from like I was saying, like your album right there? What kind of quality do you get from that?
It's outstanding.
Yeah.
Like I have some, like I have 2 of the Animalized ones, and one's an audience, and I have a video, or not a video. There's a record store right down the street from me, and if I see they get bootlegs in there, and I'll look at the show, and I'll walk outside and find it on YouTube and see what the quality is.
You talking about everybody's?
Okay. No, I actually live real close. It's called I don't want to tell you because you guys are going to start shopping there now. It's called. It's called Lester's.
Okay.
It's actually really close to the Madison where you're going to be playing next month.
Okay, so I never.
It's called Lester's Rock and Roll Shop, and anytime he gets stuff, he calls me.
Cool.
But he does get bootlegs. So.
Well, I just told you one too. Everybody's Records has a decent selection of bootlegs too.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I do both. I prefer vinyl, but just some of those vinyl live shows are just crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I listen to records, CDs, but I like it having it on my iPod. So that's probably my favorite way.
This is one of my favorite ones, Alive in the Woods. It's one of the early shows.
See, I have that, but mine's called something Bitches.
Oh shit. I know what you're talking about.
Hold on a sec. Are we still recording?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, hold on a second. I'll show you mine real quick.
I didn't know. I mean, I was going on YouTube and listening to like live recordings and stuff and demos and things like that from Kiss, but I guess I didn't know it was the stuff on the vinyl. I didn't know it was that big of a thing. That there's a bunch of vinyls out there with live that people were selling.
Oh yeah, there's bootlegs galore out there nowadays.
This is called Horny Bitches and Daisy Days. It's the same show.
Yeah. Yes.
Good Lord.
I think the reason why it's called that is I think Horny Bitches was one of the opening acts that night.
I believe so.
Okay. That makes more sense then.
See, this is another one here that's a cool package. It's called The Summer of Satan.
Is that from New Jersey?
Yes, Roosevelt Stadium.
See, I have the CD, and it's called New Jersey Jews. Have you ever heard of that?
Good Lord.
So, is that what it's called? I think but same thing. But there's a lot of them have multiple names. New York Jews. It's either, I think it's called New York Jews.
Wow.
See, I got to get that now. Hold on.
Yeah, as much as Kiss likes to make money and capitalize on everything, I've never understood why they don't get ahead of this stuff and just do it themselves, you know?
Absolutely.
You would think they would immediately see dollar signs in their eyes and go for it.
Right.
Like, this is a pretty common one, the Ritz. New Jersey Jews. Roosevelt Stadium.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's a soundboard that sounds phenomenal. But for some reason, and I'm sure yours is the same way, Eli, mine starts at Cold Gin. Does yours also?
No. Intro, Detroit Rock City. Cold Gin is track 4.
Okay. See, mine starts at Cold. All the CDs start at Cold Gin, which is weird.
Huh. This is a really weird one from the I guess it would be like look it up. It's called Barbarize. Weird cover.
Are you sure that's not Animalize? Like I think it's got Animalize songs on there.
Yeah, it says 1984 on it. I don't know why there's a picture of Vinny.
Well, you're right there. They do I've Had Enough on here.
Do. The reason why I know that is because I saw that at that Lester's shop. And I was excited when I saw Benny. I was like, oh, I need to lick it up vinyl. And then I saw the set. A pet peeve of mine is I hate albums that have pictures from the wrong era.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It aggravates the shit out of me. And that's either way. If there's a crazy, I love the makeup stuff, but if I've seen Rich shows from '88 with makeup pictures.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy.
Yeah. You get that sometimes with the bootlegs, but
There's even a monster picture disc that's got from the Monster Tour. It's a 2-disc picture disc set that's got side 4 is a tribute band. Like how they dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Is that you guys?
Ridiculous. Yeah, no. That's funny.
I mean, that's cool for the guys on it, but it's like you think that somebody would have stopped them before they printed 1,000 of them or whatever.
It's ridiculous.
So we should do you guys should do a bootleg show one time.
Yeah. I guess it'd just be me and you showing things, but
pretty much, yeah. I've got a single bootleg DVD of the Animalized Live Uncensored, and actually, just like you guys were talking about, Mark St. John is pictured on the front, and the picture on the back is the back cover of Carnival of Souls.
That aggravates the crap out of me.
No, this is one of my favorites from the Creatures tour.
Oh, that's a vinyl?
Yeah.
What show is that from?
Rockford, Illinois. New Year's Eve '82.
See, I have the 10-year. I think it's got Los Angeles, and the second side has the other shows from Rio. But that's just because I haven't found one on the cheaper side. Those are all usually 150 plus on the Creature shows.
I mean, look at this freaking gatefold.
See, why isn't that officially released?
That's nice. That's nice.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Kiss could have did something like that for Creatures. A gatefold like that would have just been perfect.
Absolutely. Or, even if they would, like these anniversary editions they've been putting out of everything, instead of just releasing a colored version of it, do something like that. Make it turn it into a gatefold, make it more of a celebration of the album,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the Daisy show, this is available, whatever it's called, whether it's Horny Bitches or Life in the Woods is, I don't know why that wasn't released.
Yeah, I wish they would have recorded that in like simple type. And
I was just going to say, if you take out Kissin' Time and Love Theme, that makes the first album just untouchable.
Oh, yeah. If they would have recorded those, yeah.
That would have been a high bar for the rest of the time. But I think I'm mumbling, so I think we're running longer than you want to.
Yeah, sorry guys, and everybody watching. We're just kind of riffing now. Yeah, it's fun. Well, Luke's literally riffing.
Yeah, Luke's done with this. He's playing guitar now.
Yeah.
But Life in the Woods, that they dropped the ball in the box set on that one too.
Mm-hmm.
The Daisy show is amazing. I don't know why that's not available. Even if they don't want to put it on physical copy, put it on iTunes, let people pay for it. That'd be huge.
Right. Absolutely.
I'd much rather have that than Kiss Curtains or whatever the hell else is coming out next.
Yeah.
Although now I say that does sound pretty cool.
What, a Kiss curtain?
Yeah. I've seen the shower curtains, and that's a strong no with my wife. She said if we had a second bathroom.
Yeah, I wanted to get that Gene Simmons toilet paper dispenser, but that thing's expensive.
Yeah,
that Japanese piece that they released.
I've seen it.
The last time I've been excited about buying anything Kiss was during the reunion tour, when all that stuff was coming out, and I was like, oh, I gotta get this, and I gotta get that, and buy this, but then after a while, it was like so saturated. It was like, okay, I'll get it later. I'll get it next time. And after a while, I was like, fuck, I don't need it.
Man, that story you tell in the book about the opening of the mini golf when you spent all that money to go and meet them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whatever.
Yeah, it was nothing.
That's
just a bad memory, just a disappointing memory.
Wow.
I need to read that.
Can you kind of give everybody a Cliff Notes version of it, if you don't mind? Like, it's such a messed up story.
Sure. Yeah, I was in Vegas, and Kiss was coming to town at the mini golf place that opened up, and Kiss was going to be there to open it up and talk to people and do a press conference and things like that. So the long short, I called the lady, and I said I want to get a ticket because I thought this might be my chance to meet Kiss in person, and I was very specific with her. I said, does this mean I get to shake hands with Kiss and be upfront with them and talk to them even for a few seconds? She was like, yeah, you'll get the full package. Don't worry about it. So I spent $500 and I got the pass to get in. And the long short of it is, Kiss is only there for Kiss is inside the building. There were a lot of fans there, and I'm going to say there were fans there that got what they wanted out of the deal. But when it was my turn and a few of the fans' turn, I started noticing Kiss was disappearing one by one into the back room, and Gene was the only one left. And one person was talking to Gene, and Gene was talking to the person. And by the time it was my turn, someone had whispered something in Gene's ear, and Gene just turned away and walked away. And yeah, and everybody said, everybody thought, the fans that were remaining, we thought Kiss was in that back room, and they'd come out after a few minutes, wrap things up with us. But they left. They went out through a separate door, and that was it. So $500. For nothing, I guess.
Wow. Was that the current
lineup?
I mean,
honestly, yes, the current lineup.
And were they in full
and
everything, or no?
No, just street clothes.
Well, you had mentioned too that Gene ignored you guys and started messing with a couple girls and that's kind of what screwed up too.
That's what did it. It was like, okay, it's my turn. The planets have lined up for me and things like that.
Yeah.
Gene kind of motions us to move away, and he pulls the girls. They're like in Hooters type outfits to come to him. So Gene starts doing this. Gene's doing this, taking pictures with the girls and all that kind of shit. But if Gene had never done that, we would have got our time in. But he gave that time to those girls, and then finally, when that guy whispered in his ear, Gene just walked away. So I'll never do nothing like that again. I'll never do nothing like that again. I'll never pay big money to be kissed like that.
Then you also did a kind gesture for someone that was outside too.
Yeah, gave my pass. So let him just kind of go inside because he couldn't afford to go in at that time because like I said, it was $500. So I just gave my pass and just said go have fun and But you know what? I mean, it might sound stupid or even a little crazy, but Mr. Speed made it that much better. I mean, I was grateful to meet those guys and and watch them play live and everything. And I remember telling my brother that I said Mr. Speed actually took some of the sting out of it. So I mean, I had fun. I still had fun. I still enjoyed myself. So
yeah. After I read that part in the book, I went on YouTube and found footage of Mr. Speed playing at that event and kind of watched. I was seeing if maybe I could spot you in the crowd, but I couldn't.
Those guys are great. They recently just switched their costumes to Dynasty, and I got to see them last month, and they were great. It was so good to see a concert.
Yeah.
Any concert. It felt like the Super Bowl. So.
But I'll say this, as busy as Kiss was, and for the fans that couldn't pay to get in, Eric Singer was outside signing autographs and meeting those people that couldn't afford to get in. And, and he was just taking pictures. And I mean, I watched him sign a ton of autographs, and I couldn't get one because I was too far back in the crowd. But that was cool that he did that,
Yeah, Eric's great, man.
Eric's great, yep.
I've always said, and the same goes for Bruce, however many times they have them at like the expos and stuff, I'd meet them every time because it's always fun to go up and talk to them. And I don't even really care as much about the autograph anymore. It's just like, hey, have a little word with them for a little bit. It's always cool. And
same,
they'll talk. Yeah. Especially Eric, he'll talk your head off. And,
yeah.
they always have to yell at him to quit talking and start signing. Yeah, it's always a blast. Like I said, they can have them guys come every time, and I'll meet them every time.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, by the way, I had to have my oil changed this week, and it, for the first time in a while, left me sitting with nothing that I could do and also no baby. So I intentionally brought the book along, and I jumped ahead to where we were around this period. So grape slushy, I get it. That's hilarious.
Grape slushy.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Other people have referenced that to me in emails and shit. I'm like, yeah.
No, that was definitely fun. I'm looking forward to getting to read the rest of it.
Oh, appreciate that. At least you're reading it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And again, we recommend everyone else do the same.
Yes.
Grab you a copy. Well worth it. We're going to be ready for a part 2 before you know it. So
absolutely.
I'm a lot of Kiss stories.
Yeah. We definitely appreciate you sharing those stories on here with us. And,
very much.
It's been a blast.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming on the show. I mean, it's been fun. I mean, honestly, I'm actually studying for my real estate license. So I'm like, I wake up 4 o'clock in the morning and I study, and I go to work and I study on breaks and that shit. So I try to get my energy up by the time I do this with you guys, but sometimes I get a little burnt out over my day,
I understand. I appreciate you making the time though.
Yes.
We're going to be looking at our first house, so once you get your license.
I'm not there yet. I don't want to give you no bad advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're going to jump off this live thing at least for now, and we thank you all as always for watching and participating in the chat. And again, we want to thank Anthony for coming back. Chuck, good to see you again. Good to have you back. And again, we'll see everybody next week for Crazy Nights next week. So everyone take care, be safe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you then. Bye.
See you then.